discuss this story, I'm joined live by Patrick Henningsen, managing editor of the news website 21st Century Wire. Mr. Henningsen, is still very chaotic there on the ground, but also on a political level. Libya's interim leaders say that they will not stay in power once the Gaddafi strongholds are defeated. And of course, this is a consequence of an internal split between essentially Islamists and liberals. And right now, the war is not yet over, and we're already seeing a power struggle. Are they, in fact, capable of forming a government?
I think if you have to have any indication to what the future is going to look like, I think all you have to do is look over to Egypt. The West very much supported the overthrow of Hosni Mubarak, and what you get in its place, you get a military government. And that military government is still in power and will be in power for some time. And the West's idea as to why this is justified and will be the same in Tripoli is that it's not stable yet, is what they'll say. And when stability comes, then we'll give you a democracy. So I believe that they will stay in power for an interim time. That interim time can be up to a year or 2 years. It's difficult to say at this point.
Yeah, speaking about a democracy in Libya, it's very much a tribal country. Does it have any chance of being a democratic nation state, realistically speaking, perhaps in the long run, but perhaps there's a chance?
Well, you know, it's really difficult because the seeds of this country are now basically what's going to grow from the seed of foreign intervention. Essentially, the NATO has given air cover and military cover to a rebel faction that was not chosen or elected by the people, mostly from the east of the country or from Benghazi. So they don't have a mandate. And what you have, I think, is a protracted power struggle. You also have a tribal backlash, which is going to occur in Libya as a result of this war. You've seen the same thing in Iraq. When it was bombed, invaded, and occupied. Then you have a Vichy government in Tripoli now, much like you had a Vichy government in Baghdad, and one in Kabul as well. And do you have stability in Afghanistan? Do we have stability in Iraq? No, we don't have stability. There's an appearance of stability maybe in Iraq. After, what, 7, 8 years? Are you going to have the same thing in Libya? Most likely, yes. The only stability I think the West is really interested in is it stable enough for Western companies to come in and take contracts for British companies, American companies, French companies, and Italian companies.
All right.
They're carving up the country.
Well, let's go back to the situation affecting civilians there. I mean, NATO is saying that it's not planning to end the operations in Libya while the civilians are still in danger. From your point of view, who is posing the real danger to civilians? Reports that thousands are fleeing both Sirte and Bani Walid because of shelling and water shortages. So who is the real danger? What is the real danger?
Well, you know, the thing that really brought this issue home to me was the report that I read about a 14-year-old boy in Sirte that died on the operating table because the power went out because the hospital generator was out of fuel. Why? Because they've put a bull ring around the city. No fuel can get into the city. So people are dying. Innocent lives are being lost. And I believe, obviously, what they're doing with Sirte is much like they did with Fallujah. They're trying to empty the city so that there's only a military presence left, an insurgent presence left in Sirte, and they're going to carpet bomb it or just shell it for a week or two until there's nothing left but a pile of dust. Obviously, civilians are at their highest risk from NATO airstrikes and also from rebels who are untrained, unorganized. It's basically a giant gang of sort of paramilitaries who don't have any sort of solid leadership from what we can determine. Their leader just died last week.
Okay, just very briefly now, what do you think is the possibility of NATO staying in Libya after the fighting ends?
I think anything that's said through official channels right now, i.e. Washington or Whitehall or in Paris, I think you can pretty much discount it as they'll basically say whatever they have to say. They've said they're going to pull the troops out of Iraq. In May of 2003, mission accomplished. George Bush landed on an aircraft carrier, and it was a big promotion and a big celebration. And here we are 8, 9 years later. I think we will see NATO, I predict, if I were to put money down right now at the bet shop, I would predict there's going to be NATO troops in there well into next year. We will see UN blue helmets in certain parts of the country. And I think then they'll keep advisors in, and there'll be hundreds or thousands of these advisors, and there will still be an air presence. So I believe, because there's going to be a rebellion, pro-Gaddafi forces are not defeated yet. And this is the idea that we've been given from the CNNs and the Foxes and the BBCs of the world, is that it's all over. No, it's not all over. There's still fighting going on. And there's also a huge power struggle within the transnational council, these rebels, who are basically fighting for whatever piece of the pie they can get. They don't know how long they're going to be in power. So they're trying to solidify their own personal interests while they haven't even won the war yet.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your analysis there. Patrick Henningsen, managing editor of 21st Century Wire News website.
Thank you.